Yes. What the shit she's on, yeah.
Adjust view. All right, there we go.
Perfect.
Nice. Nice.
Hey,
Hey, now that we've laughed and cried and yelled and everything.
I
All
feel
right.
like even if we did put it in there, that shit should have been recorded.
We will not give up. And we'd be like, let me give up and download. It's something that people ask all the time. Pop, how did you cast Trent? How did you find Trent? Where'd you get this guy? And I was like, oh, I already knew him. I already had him. I had already been following him for some time, actually.
Yeah.
We'd met each other in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And what, it would have been like
At
10, 10 years ago now?
at least. Yeah. About 9, 10 years ago now.
Purely the accident of us really meeting because we were staying in the same place, but there were so many people at that Airbnb.
But
So
like
like,
even the setup of what we weren't meant to become friends. That was a
oh,
place that people were just in and out like every day. You had 10 to 15 different people in the house.
for context, so the audience watching and listening.
Right.
So this place, this is an Airbnb. We like to call it Ratto George because there was a rat named George who lived there with us all. Um, but it was like a fucking shanty town that someone had like illegally built out the back of their place because there was like because when you first moved there, you moved into some of the tents that were outside. You were in a tent.
Yeah.
I had the luxury of
You
being
had
in
the
one of
real
those shacks with a door. And like again, for context for the audience, this really was like a plywood shack that somebody had like built and like there was a
like
tarp on the roof. But
and
by
then
the
they had like
time,
three
yeah,
tiers. It was like the carpet tents, and then they had like the plywood kind of shacks. And then
yeah.
if you really have big money, you got a room in the
Well,
actual inside of
yeah,
that.
because by the time I was arrived and was there for a little bit, you were already in a bedroom, high roller. You guys, you had an inside room, you rich bitch.
I look back at that house and there was so much chaos and fuckery going on throughout there. It's a miracle that we survived it. Especially like because you were there what 2 weeks?
Yeah, thereabouts. Maybe
And
maybe that 10 days.
I was there a month and a half, and literally 2 weeks making it out is a miracle. So a month and a half, like you asking for a death wish, because that house, like the random people that would get the codes to the
Yeah.
entry, like it was just not a good place for people to be living in.
It was an interesting mix as well because it's like there were people who like were there to work, were there to fucking grind, and then there were just people who were like, I'm running away from my problems and I'm just here to drink every night and have a good
Yeah,
time. There's this fucking shanty town out the back of this fucking Ratcho George Airbnb house, and this is like it's in Hollywood and not in a good neighborhood in Hollywood. And that's not
yeah.
to say that it was like a bad neighborhood.
It was a bad neighborhood. I ain't going, it
Yeah.
was a bad neighborhood.
But again, it's as far as like Hollywood goes. It was
Right.
not it was not the worst neighborhood.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it was still sketch. Like it was still real
Oh,
sketchy.
so for context, that is actually how we really became friends. Like there was this little garden in the front of the Airbnb, and people would just go out there, have a joint, smoke, whatever. And we maybe had a conversation or two, and we kind of got the vibe like, all right, they
Yeah.
not crazy. So I could
Yeah.
actually I
Yeah.
could actually mingle with them. And so one night she was just like, hey, I'm in LA. I rarely ever get to eat ice cream. It's this one shop, the only shop around that I can go to. You mind just walking with me up there? I got a couple joints we can roll up. And I was like, oh shit, you gonna put some smoke in me? Yeah, say less. But that says a lot about the neighborhood. You needed somebody to actually walk with you there.
I was over there to take a bunch of meetings and it's always a nightmare because I'm allergic to fucking everything. So it's hard for me to find somewhere to eat. And if I'm in meetings all day, I don't get a chance to get to the store. And so like the fact that you were willing to like walk with me so I could go to the supermarket after hours or I could go get food meant that I could eat.
I
And
wouldn't
I
starve and die.
yeah, that I wasn't gonna like starve. The actual first moment that we met, you were having a meeting about this music video.
Yes.
And anybody watching this will immediately see what happened and why it happened. But
Yeah.
I'm sitting over in the smoking section. You're here and you're having this meeting. This fucking USC dropout with a camera shows up to meet with you to talk to you about
But
shooting your video for you.
and mind you, I should have known like if he's in the same Airbnb as me, I probably shouldn't be trusting this
I know,
dude to
because
shoot.
he wasn't staying there, was he? Or is that how you'd met him?
Yeah, that he was in because he's actually from California. And that's why
Yeah,
I didn't understand. But he was in between places. Like he was there for the weekend. He wanted to go to drive up to Joshua Tree to do some, and that was how we. But that's what I'm saying. I probably should have
yeah.
known by that. Like, nah, this is a dude that I should be trusting with
You were a sweet white-eyed boy from Grand Rapids, Michigan, who was looking for your shot. So I'm sitting there and I'm doing my best to not eavesdrop on this conversation. And I'm hearing you guys talk, and just like every fucking red flag in the world is coming up for me about this guy. Just, I can see that he's not really listening to you the way that he should be for someone who's about to get fucking paid to do a job for you. Mentally, I'm like, look, you're here to do your 40 meetings. You're not here to, I'm like someone from a fucking reality TV show. Like, you're not here to make friends. I'm not in this house to make friends. I'm here to take my fucking meetings, and I'm here to like, keep my head down and keep to myself. And so
Yeah.
like I'm hearing this meeting, not filling me with hope, but whatever, I don't know. I don't know this guy. God, good luck. After you guys kind of wrapped up your meeting, we were all sitting sort of shooting the shit, laughing, talking. Over the course of the night, kicking it, and you're like, oh, I'm a musician. And you like played me the track that for your music video. And I'm like listening to the song. And there is this moment where I'm like, oh, fuck, I have to give a shit about this guy now because this music's pretty good. And despite the fact that I was trying desperately to be like, you are not here for that. You are here to do your job. I was like, no, this kid's gonna get fucked over by this guy. Like, this kid's about to get fucked over by this fucking USC
But you know
cunt.
what's so crazy?
What?
I was genuinely just happy that somebody was willing to listen to my music because at that point, like once again, wide-eyed kid in LA, everybody's doing their own thing. I ain't got time to listen to you. I don't got time for this. I don't got time. I don't got time. And you were like, yeah, let me hear it. I was like,
Okay.
oh shit. Yeah, somebody go listen.
Yeah, and it was good. And from that moment, I was like, all right, here is a crash course in making sure that this music video goes the way you want it to. Here's how you're going to break it down. After I had head back to New Zealand, when you touched base with me and you messaged and you were like, oh yeah, babe, it went exactly how you said it would go.
And I was mind blown. I was just like, even on the day, like we're shooting, I was just like, nah, because even after I started to like find that confidence in myself and speak like,
Yeah,
actually, I'm in charge of this. I'm paying you, especially when I'm like, I'm walking an
yeah.
hour and a half every day to these restaurants, stacking up my tips just to be able to pay for this shit. But they ended up just giving me the footage, not finishing the job, and still to this day have never seen or heard anything significant that they've done.
Oh, of course not. I mean, again, it's just some schmuck with a camera in LA, whoopty shit. From the moment I saw this dude, I was just like, oh, I met 1,000 of this guy. We got them back home in New Zealand.
Even more crazy to that day, everything that you told me and gave me advice wise that day still rings true today.
When it comes to like our work, our art, the things that we want, like no one cares about as much as we do.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And I'm finding out that money you can't even pay them to care enough about it.
people will have an ego, right? Even people who have done nothing, have no skills. You're a dude with a camera, man. You're a dude with a camera who loves to drugs the Joshua Tree. Like, whoa! It's like very much this moment of you are not here to make any friends. You are not, you're here to fucking focus on your shit and get it done. And I just ended up making like a fucking lifelong friend.
You know what's even more impressive to me? What you were going through at that time. Like later on, finding out what you were going
Yeah.
back to. And I was like, and you actually still decided to take me on. You still decided to add that when you like just to get over here, risk your life. And then what you're going back to isn't immaculate. It isn't glamorous. It isn't that was I was like, yeah, she a real one. She's definitely a real one.
I know what it's like to be talented, right? I know what it's like to be talented and hungry and have people fuck me over. And so I think there is that part of me that it's like, as soon as I am aware that someone is talented, you exist to me now. You exist to me
Yeah,
now, and your struggle exists to me now because I know what it's like to be fucking good and have people fuck you over. I know what it's like to have fucking people try and like take your shit. I know what it's like to have people fucking exploit you. And so I think there was just that element as well as like we connected as people about like just having like, crazy upbringings and and
yeah.
and
So,
you know dysfunctional families and being from really creative families. You're from a family of musicians and things like that. And I think the other part of it is just we were both so hungry for it.
yeah,
It's just like I wanted it so bad. I'm prepared to nearly die in a fucking airport and stay in this fucking Ratto George situation. I'm prepared to like fucking put it all on the line because I just gotta get in the room. I gotta get the meetings. I gotta fucking show
yeah.
people. It doesn't make sense to people who don't want it like that.
And never will. Like they will look
Yeah.
at you as if you are actually insane.
I mean, we were.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But even when I think about like when you was explaining just the plane ride
Yeah.
and just how passing out the snacks
Yeah.
throughout the flight can send you just like you have to hide in the bathroom. So probably about this time we have been friends about a year and a half.
Mm,
You hit me, I'll be like, hey, I'm coming back. Like you said, you gotta be insane to willingly
yeah.
put yourself through that just to get to where you're going for another meeting. Because that's all you were showing up again for, was just
Yeah.
one.
More meetings, back for more meetings.
That's it. But even this time around, when we got that day to just really
Yeah.
kick it, to just do well, like I cleared all my studio sessions for that day, and
Yeah.
I was just like, I really, because that meant more. Like the fact that I found in this crazy ass place like LA a
Mm.
human being.
We caught up. We went to go do some basic white bitch and get some vitamin shots. Fucking,
Yeah,
I've been
tacos.
on Sunset, had tacos, and then we went back to the studio and I showed you Hang Time. I showed my movie that just been
Yeah,
finished.
was Air was there, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yes, it was me, you, and Air, and that was kind of really something that was important to me. That's kind of when the family aspect of you kind of set in. I was like, the
Mm.
fact that I could introduce her to you, I got somebody over here because I didn't know nobody from LA, and
Yeah.
you it felt like I actually had family out there. That
Yeah.
moment
And
was really
you were like
fucking dope.
you were staying at the studio and it was like fucking sleepover. We crashed on these air mattresses. A lot of ways it was like really, really fucking wholesome. And I think it's something that I've always really valued about our friendship is we've always just been homies,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
And like for me as somebody who has been so hypersexualized in my life, and same for you, right? We've both had people be interested in what we look like as opposed to the content of our character.
Yep.
For me to have a guy friend who I can kick it with, who I can dream big with, who will make sure that I'm safe, will always make sure that I like disability reason or just like being a female walking alone at night, making sure that I'm getting places safe. And it has always meant so much to me to always feel safe with you.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
but same because and different context, but the same because like especially in the industry, as much as I had been through at that point, I was always just the youngest, the little one that
Yeah.
didn't have a say so. And so when you met me, that was really when I started to take the reins of my
Yeah.
career, where I'm going. And so you met a baby. And so just to see the way that you were willing to help me. Like I said, the advice that you gave me in that garden still rings true today. That made me feel safe. If for any other reason, I need that type of energy around
Yeah.
to make me feel like I'm capable of doing this. Because if I didn't have that, Lord knows where I'd be today. For real.
By virtue of being raised by my stepdad and him being very focused on like having your business in order, making sure that making sure you've got a strategy, making sure that you're locked, you're sorted, but also like making sure you're not getting fucked over. So many talented people are so ripe for exploitation, right? Because you just want it so bad. You just want it so bad.
Like, looking at me back then, I was basically just bending over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sitting duck, man. Sitting duck. Like that. Like, I was like, wow, so someone is going to prey on this person. If I do not say
Yes.
something or do something,
Yes.
you're real fucking talented. You're real talented. You also have a look that like people will stop you in the street. Like I remember we were on the metro and
Uh,
some guy came up to you and he was like, I ever told you you look like, this, that person. Hey man, and people will come up to you and be like, you look like you should be an actor. And so
yeah.
even though you were a musician, I was always just kind of like, nah, this guy's got a real good look, like a real good look for camera, real good charisma, real good presence. And so we sort of had a couple of things that we were like, okay, what are some ways that we can try and like find opportunities to work together?
Yeah.
Like when Hang Time played at Vero Beach, like you came down and were at Vero with me and like connecting with
And I was
people.
gonna ask you, is that why? And because then it seems so random to get that invitation from you. You're like, hey man, I'm gonna be over in the States in Florida. I got this film festival. My film got like, do you want to come down? I'm like, yeah, of course. But it was so random. Do you think, or is that why you did it from inception of when you saw me? Like you had a plan in place of where you were
Yes.
trying to get at me. Okay. I'm like,
Yes. 100%. Um,
because for me, I was like, this is a film festival. Why would she be inviting her musician friend?
Part of it is because I knew you would be a good actor. Um, like triple threat. But I think the
Yeah.
other part of it was the way that my brain works is that producing projects for me is about it's like producing an EP, right? It's like, let me show you a sick collab with some people who are real fucking talented that I think you should fucking know about, right?
Yeah.
And because through my screenwriting career, you're writing stuff and then you're trying to attach people, and there's this whole fucking process. When it came to my own independent producing, I was like, reject the machine, right? I want to find really exciting talent and I want to put them together and I want to create something that really introduces them to audiences. It allows you to be like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? What is he? What's he up to? What's he been working on? And you were someone that I had kind of identified as I really liked you. I really liked your music. I really liked your look. And I really thought that you could have a place in screen. So there was that component of it. But to be also totally candid, just fucking loyalty.
That's the one that rings to me. Because like as much as you believe in me, and at this
Yeah.
point I am now, but I didn't see it that way. So I was like, she must just really fuck with me. Like she must just really love me as a friend. That even speaks volumes to how you put projects together.
I mean,
Because
like, don't get it twisted. I'm a cunt. I wouldn't be your friend if you weren't talented. Like,
yeah, but that's what I was about to say. When we were in Vero and I met Aki,
yes.
cold DJ. But I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm starting to see it. Like you just got to be really good at something to be in her circle.
Part of it is that I love collaborating. I love working with people who are working at a really high level, really talented, but also people who want to work at a really high level. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I do seek out the company of people who are driven, who are speaks about Aki again for a second. Like this is someone who I went to high school with, and she was fucking driven then. She was teaching herself how to produce music. And like now she's in fucking Brooklyn and she's like a fucking like DJ. And it's like
Yeah.
separate to that, she is a DJ. She is a sober DJ who is a massive advocate for that, but she's also a massive advocate for like minority voices in the DJing scene. So it's not just all like fucking white dudes in black t-shirts. Like I love being around people that love what they do, that love what they create. They love the ways that they can create. I'm from like as much as screenwriting and sort of producing has kind of been my majority of my adult life. I'm from music as well. Like I used to write and perform. Fuck, I completed writing a song today. I wrote a new song today.
Shit. I was actually
Yeah.
listening to our voice notes from when we were writing
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But for real, you're cold. You are fire as fuck. And I guess for me,
Thank you.
that's what I saw in you, especially when I met Akia. And then when
Yeah.
I found out how you got the marketing for Hang
Yeah.
Time and then the wine to get it to the, I was just like, the way her brain works is very, 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 very fucking creative. And then when you pulled out the guitar, I was like, oh,
Well,
that's the cherry on top.
music was what I first wanted to do. And again, part of the reason that I didn't pursue it is just like disability, right? You know, you can't really be a touring musician if you can't eat and breathe
No.
air and shit. It's a part of my life that will always be a big part of my life. It's, yeah, I've absolutely want to see you move into the screen space. I think the big thing is that I'm just a big fan of your music. A story that I kind of tell people about it is you dropped off because you do that. You had disappeared for a little bit and I couldn't get a hold of you.
Yeah.
And
Like, you know.
yeah, but you had dropped Gene Season and it was on
Mhm.
Spotify. I was in a really like difficult point in my life at that point. My sister had gone to jail and that
Yeah.
had had a big impact and my marriage was breaking down. I had things that I needed to pay for. And so I knew I was going to have to get back into sex work. And I'd been
Mhm.
out of the game for a little bit. And so I knew I needed to have a better body if I was going to go back in.
Yeah.
So I went to the warehouse to get a pair of sweatpants to be able to put my phone in my pocket so that I could like work out and do things. And as I was walking around the warehouse, the What If I was listening to your music. I just remember kind of like standing in this fucking standing in this fucking store, listening to your lyrics, listening to the drive of it through this period where I was like, I am gonna have to, not only do I have to do this very hard thing, which is get back into an industry that I thought I had left, I had to do it until no one was allowed to know.
Yeah.
And what allowed me to just get up every day, work out, get my life together, go to work, get all the pieces done, is I would just listen to your album. I remember I finally like got to a point where I think like I'd reached out to another friend of yours to be like, is he alive? Where is
Yep.
he?
Yep. I remember
Like, what
EJ
is
had
going
told me
on?
you reached out to him. My mom
Yeah,
had told me you reached out to her. I was like,
yeah,
oh, she's really worried. And until kind of that era of my life, you telling me a story like that, or just reaching out to those people in my life to get a hold of me, I was like, I kind of never just thought I was worth that. I never thought that I was that person that, like, you hear artists all the time. I'm just making music because I like to do this shit. I would never think
yeah.
that somebody's gonna hear this and it makes a difference for them.
Well, it did, but it was also one of those things that I was like, he better not have left the game.
Yeah.
That was my other part of it. Is I was like, first things first, I need to make sure that he is alive and he's well and everything is going okay. You need to be making music. You need to be making more music. Once I'd made the decision that I was like, hey, do you want to come to New Zealand for a bit and just see what we can make happen outside of LA? Part of that was like supporting you as a musician. Part of that was trying to sort of bring you into sort of my filmmaking space. But
Yeah.
like even during that period, I'd fly up to Auckland to, again, I'm fucking still in this industry at that time, and it was really fucking hard, and it's really fucking gnarly, and it's really fucking scary at times. And like I'd
Yeah.
be flying up to Auckland to be taking fucking bookings, and I'm like walking around downtown, I'm listening to your music, right? And like some of it's like unreleased music that no one else has heard, but
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's that sense of being able to just plug something into my head and be like, you're gonna get through it. You're gonna push through it. You're gonna knuckle down and you are going to get out the other end of this.
I was gonna ask you, how does that feel to, like, because if I am that to you and you create your whole circle of people based off of that, how does that actually feel? Because like me, I'm even part civilian. Like I just hang out with regular people that's not in the industry, they're not creative. Like, to know that that person is out in the world and you could just hit them up. How does that feel? And how do you go about maintaining that?
My thoughts are always, how do I help them? How do I make sure that the talented ones who deserve to win? When someone has just got the goods,
Mhm.
being able to, my brain is really good at like systems, understanding systems and how it all can come together. So whether or not it's financial systems, narrative systems, all those sorts of things. And so
Right.
as soon as I can see a way that I can kind of weave the pieces together and create a meaningful system, we're all good, we can go. And if I've got the talent, that I'm keeping in my periphery, who's doing what? How can I bring these pieces? How can I weave these pieces together? So when we think about like pop, for example, right? When I brought you over to New Zealand, a big part of why I brought you over to New Zealand was in part to connect you with Tim,
Right.
because
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying. That was a
yeah,
part of the system.
because
Gotcha.
he's real fucking talented. But if Tim had made his first feature and it was just like a little local film with no international accents or faces or reach, it would have been a great film still, but it wouldn't have the same cut through, right? It wouldn't be a film that international audiences could grab onto. I think there was a lot that I thought that you could learn from him,
Okay.
just in regards to directing, making things, editing, creating,
Yeah.
being able to sort of drive your own work and drive your own creativity. And so
That's
when I like, the genesis of pop really was in many ways. Like you guys had been shooting a music video that day and you flicked me a text and were like, hey, let's go, we'll meet. I think we met at Ascot to have some wines and have a chat. Him had been getting some pressure from people to do another short film and to spend a little bit more money on it and make it a little bit more, on the rails and traditional film festival pathways. And I'm really glad that you like were like, no, we are having an intervention on this because it allowed me to go, you're done with shorts. You've done shorts. You've made 1,000, not 1,000, but you've made enough shorts.
But like literally, especially for me, when I got over there, people were naming Tim like king of shorts.
Yeah.
Like that, you're
Yeah.
literally pigeonholing yourself.
Yeah, you've done it. You're ready. You should do a feature. And he was like, well, no one's going to support me to do that. Well, I got $5,000. I got $5,000 and I got Trent.
And at least for me, it was a no-brainer as soon as you wanted to bring me on board for it because of what you did with Hang Time. I can
Yeah.
go on Amazon right now and watch it like that. And
Yeah.
especially script directing, producing, like from
Yeah.
beginning to end, you've shown I can get something to market.
Make a cohesive, good little film for a little bit of money,
Yes.
but how do you let the talent shine, right? If we're going to go and make this feature, like what is it that we want to get out of it? And for me, there was a couple of components. One, we wanted your music out. We were like, hey, you and I had been talking. We were like, how the fuck do you get people to just listen to the fucking music, man? Listen to the fucking music, man. Great. A feature film is a really cool way of us being able to sort of release some tracks and get people to like, engage with it that way, get some cut through. But it was also a really good opportunity for him to learn how to more closely work with and direct an actor. And for you as an emerging actor to learn how to be directed for screen and to have a role that's meaty. You can have
Oh, yes.
1,001 little bit parts before you have a proper breakthrough. Yeah, I just like Tim was someone that I'd seen a 48 hours film of his called Transformation, probably close to about 10 years ago now as well. And yeah, and I saw it and I was just like, this kid's really fucking talented. I need to meet him and I need to figure out how I can help him make more movies and get to where he wants to go. And so I met him for coffee and I remember being like, what's your deal, man? What do you want to do? And he was like, I want to fuck with people and I want them to come to me. That was his two things he wanted. And I was like, great, how do we do that? How do we make that happen? And so, over that period of time, it's sort of getting to that point where, yep, you're ready for a feature. Let's make it a feature that can get some international reach, that can show what you can do, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But also, like the victory conditions for pop were that we make the most Tim Hamilton film possible, right? It really needed to come out the gate and let you know who he was as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And also for you in that role, right? It was an opportunity to be like, all right, I want to do stunts. I want to have a drama scene. I want some comedy. I want to sing, I want to have
Yeah.
something that I can send out to people and they watch this movie and they go, oh, this guy can fucking do everything. Because we didn't go, oh, here's this script we have and we just really love to make. It was really just about how do we flex? Like how do we
Catering around these
yeah,
skills.
how do
Yeah.
we make something that everybody goes like, oh shit, these guys can cook. Like, all right, we want to see
Right.
more from them. And yeah, and then we were just so lucky as well that Katie Parkinson, Tim's partner, Katie came on board because she absolutely
The
kept you
way
guys
that
sane and
shit
alive.
yeah, I was about to say the way that shit fell together, like if and especially you were right about me coming over to New Zealand and learning that
Yeah,
because to be able to start, produce, shoot, and finish a
yeah,
feature film with only four people as the main components, Yeah, I would have been like, no, you're insane. That it can never
Yeah,
happen. Like you need at least 100 grand to
yeah,
even get started. But to see once again tend to be so technically skilled and can
yeah,
do what a team of visual effects artists can do by
yeah.
itself.
And Katie
To
is
see,
so skilled on the production design, so skilled. She's so crafty, you know, and her ability
yeah.
to do the color grade at the end to just make everything look so fucking premium.
But then
And
when I look at production companies, like
mm,
tall as tower building production companies, and to see what you did out of the dairy.
yeah,
Like, like now my outlook on film is completely different. And even speaking of 10 years ago, teaching me about business, teaching me about numbers and how to scale leanly, how to
yeah.
get things done at cost.
A lot of the time, people just want to
Oh
spend
yeah.
money because they think it's going to make you seem professional. It's going to look like you're big boys. But the reality is, any money you spend is money you owe, right? So,
Literally. Yep.
so it's the business model on this film. We're going to make sure that we have the minimum that we need, but it's also trying not to owe a lot of money so that when the film is out and sells, like when people are working for you for sweat equity, you need to give them something at the end. They need to have back end. It can't just be like, oh yeah, you'll get paid maybe one day, but first we got to pay a whole bunch of money back to a bunch of people.
Right.
And so there was that part of it of kind of how do we keep this project debt free while still making sure that we can get it through.
Mhm.
But I think the other element of it is just we didn't have it. We had as much money as like I could earn and Katie could earn, and we could afford to put
Mhm.
into the project. Like one of my favorite stories to fucking tell people about the process is about Thanksgiving.
I knew you was about to bring that up.
Fucking Thanksgiving. So boys have been out shooting and
Yeah.
it's Trent's first Thanksgiving away from home. He's in New Zealand. I'm cooking all afternoon. And like time is ticking on, the boys are a little bit late, and then what's going on? What's going on? You guys come through the door and you basically just like collapsed into my arms in tears. And I found out that you guys had been robbed. For context for the audience, they were robbed by a bunch of kids who recorded themselves robbing them, left the phone there, which is in the movie. That footage is now in the movie and actually
Oh my
changed the
God.
directory of the whole direction of the movie by this one fucking
That
juvenile
one
robbery.
incident, literally.
I'm like watching this footage of like they set Tim's laptop on fire.
On fire. They broke the car apart. They're kicking like all our clothes are out everywhere. The
Yeah,
equipment, you see boom mics just in the bushes. Our wallets, like literally my passport, credit cards, everything's just scattered all over the woods. I'm like, you and so I'm like full context. Yes, I did. I like just fell in her arms. It was just like because at this point I had it was what it no, I had been there. I've been in New Zealand what 7 months, and I was just so uncomfortable. Like that was around the time where a lot of the time nights I had just moved into the apartment with like
yeah,
Oscar and all the guys. So I had a lot of time to just sit by myself
yeah,
on things that we were down to. And I was like, I'm not at home. I'm
yeah,
not in America. I don't have like even just down to the things that I like to drink. Like just go to the
yeah,
store and grab. I'm like, none of the stuff that I'm used to is here. And then being over there and it being Thanksgiving time. And I was like, I remember specifically asking Oscar, I'm like, what do you guys do for Thanksgiving? He's like, what? I
mm,
was like, Thanksgiving. He's like, we don't
yeah,
celebrate. I was like, oh, duh. That's not even a thing. And that had really got to me the whole time that me and Tim were out shooting that. And that robbery happened. It was kind of one of those moments where I was just so defeated. And we were supposed to be back the day before and
mm,
we got caught up in traffic because of the robbery. We ended up staying out that night at his
yeah,
friend's place. We left late, and I knew you had been waiting. I even got out. Me and Tim maybe had been like a half hour from there, but literally maybe 5 minute walk from there. But the traffic was so bad. And I was like,
yeah,
Tim, I'm sorry, I have to get out and I gotta run because I did not want to be late for the dinner.
yeah,
And then we're like, it's okay. Like that just hearing that, it was everything that I needed. And that was just the wave of emotions coming out of me because I was like, this has been a hell of a ride already, and it's not even over.
And so you collapse into my arms, and I'm just like, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But the car got trashed. We needed more gear, and so like, producer wise in the back of my head, I'm telling you outwardly, don't worry about it. Producer wise in the back of my head, I'm like,
I
we need more
know
money.
you're losing.
I'm like, we need more fucking money than we fucking have. And so we have this dinner. A producer
Oh,
that was on the project and was since removed from the project was sitting at my house, eating all my food, drinking my wine, talking about fucking money that he had that he was not kicking into the production.
you know what made me so upset about that dinner is that I did invite Oscar. I did invite like the
Mm,
friends and stuff that I was
yeah.
making it. Literally everyone in that room was not well off. He was just sitting there so comfortable. And
Mm.
then this is right after I got robbed.
So like I was sitting there and I was kind of had that moment where it like hit for me that I was like, oh, no one's coming for us. No one's helping us with this. And so like
And
after the dinner,
I think I seen that look on your face during that
yeah,
dinner. Like I think I looked across the room and you weren't saying nothing. You were just
yeah,
like,
fuck
I
this
was
guy.
like,
Fuck this guy. And so I'm lying in bed going, I gotta make more money. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna make more money, right? And so at this point in time, like I am already like working as much as I can. Like I'm literally operating an in-call out of a dairy. And
yeah,
I'm lying there and I'm like, all right, well, maybe if I make more content for my OF page. And I was like, no, that takes too long because then you gotta like, we need money. We need money tomorrow, right? We need shit tomorrow. And this is me at like fucking my mid 30s. And I was like, I'm gonna have to go back to the club. I haven't stripped in 15 years, but I gotta go be attractive somewhere and I need to go make some money and I need there to be fewer barriers between me and the money. And
yeah.
so the next day, yeah, I just flicked a message through to fucking calendar girls and was like, here's some nudes. Can I work?
That's
Um,
crazy.
and they were like, yeah, come in, start your shift. So like the next day, I like, great, I worked at
That's
this club through the series exam.
crazy.
And so like that process for me making the film, operating my traditional like in-call and massage businesses and other bits and things through the week, and then I would be working in the club over the weekend.
Yeah.
I never ever thought that I would go back to club work. And like the only reason that I fucking did is because we had this fucking movie going. Like even when I was in the club, people would be like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm producing a movie." Producing a movie, guys. But and it was like, here I am. I would have been like, what, 33, 34 at the time. 34 in the sense that like a pro athlete is 34. That's old. Like you talk about being 34 as normal people, and people are just like, oh, that's so young. And I'm like, no, no, no. In stripper
Yeah.
terms, like they may as well have been like, coming to the
My point
stage,
is,
34, a miracle to still be in the game.
her
And
coworkers was all probably just an average of 7 to 10 years younger than you.
oh yeah, I remember I like sat down and this like 18-year-old, 19-year-old was just like, so you ever stripped before? And I was like, yeah, 2006. Last time I was in a club, Sexy Back was on the radio. Let that age you and age me accordingly. You talk about like making a movie and getting pop done. My job is to make sure that we have the money that's covering our costs and making sure that, everybody has got their rent paid, everybody is eating enough, that we've got the
So
things
like
that we need.
for the people out there listening, please, please, if you're thinking that, oh, I can make a movie, I can go out there and make a film, I can like, and I'm not saying you can't. I'm one of the people that actually believe in you that can do it. But if you're not willing to do that, like if you're gonna take on a producer hat and you're not willing, like when shit hits the fan, if you don't
Yeah.
understand that I'm the one that has to keep because even like you were saying, as much as I was trying to do or could do, there's only so much I could do as an undocumented person
Yeah.
over there.
Like you
But
couldn't
then,
you couldn't even go out and get a job because you didn't have the right visa to be able to go out and do that. And like again, that worked out fine because it meant that you were available to do all the film work and
yeah,
be in it and really be committed. Like I remember I got Christmas Eve off and Christmas Day
yeah.
off, and I'd made enough money. Like you, me, and Gav got like $50 each and went out and we like went out and did a little something for Christmas.
Yes, yes.
When I think about the process of getting that film made, keeping things moving, there's a lot of scary, sketchy shit that happened. And one day we'll make a good movie about that. Um,
Oh, that has to be addressed.
but at the time, I didn't have time to think about it like that. right?
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
time, there was no like, oh, this is scary. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, this could be this. It was just, I got to make this much money so that we can keep the wheels on and we
Yeah.
can keep this thing moving. And I'll think about what this is doing to me later.
And
I'll think about the cost
I
later.
have to highlight that for other producers out there. Like that amount of hustle, that amount of just grit, grind, passion to get it done. It speaks volumes to the people that are getting that type of money but aren't doing that. Like you said, you're in my house. You're in my house
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving, sitting here with an account full of money that you can give, and
Yeah.
yet still letting me
Well,
go
that was
out
the
and do
thing. Like, as is always the case with films, right? Everybody waits on the edge until they know it's worthwhile, until people were prepared to put an investment in, and massive shout out to Power Studios for coming on board, massive shout out to the Film Commission for giving that post-production funding. But like
Mhm.
up until that point,
Oh, they were kind of like,
it was
we'll
this,
wait and
brother.
see.
Like this was the bank. Like definitely like brutal hours and hard in a lot of ways. But I think the other thing as well is just, like shout out to all the girls that worked with me. There was some really fucking amazing human beings that were in that club with me who it was just a pleasure to work with them. It was just a pleasure to be with them. It was a pleasure to live through the weird fucking experience. Because like I ended up leaving Calendar Girls because they introduced these contracts and everything in this contract I was planning on doing or was doing. And so I was like, cool, goodbye. my ability to sneakily make all the money that I want to make is going to disappear if I sign
Yeah,
this
trying to
contract.
stop my brand flow.
Bye, everybody. But like for real, like the private dance rooms, they'd lock you in. They digitally locked you in those rooms and you had to wait for someone to come get you out. And part of that was apparently it used to be that all the girls had swipes when they didn't have enough swipes and blah, blah, blah. So it got to the point that like when you got booked for a private dance, you had to go to the front desk, they'd pay their money, then you'd get led into this room, and then someone would have to come and let you out. And sometimes they would not be able to answer the phone in time, all this sort of shit. Like it's fucked
Right.
working conditions in that club. So when they
Yeah.
introduced this contract, which was, the kind of thing that they're like, we can fine you $250 for being in a bad mood with management, just like wage theft shit. So the club ended up getting embroiled in this big sort of union movement because a lot of the girls were like, no, actually, you can't take 60%
Yeah.
of our private dance money. I just happened to be in this, and I'm just like, I'm just here to make a movie, man. Like, like, I'm just here to produce a movie.
But a huge question, because just being the person that you are, did you find another reason to go harder in that sector because of that? Like seeing those girls going through that shit, like,
The reality is, like at that point in time, I was in my 30s. I'd been in and out of the industry for, since I'd been 18. Like
mhm,
I wasn't a baby, but like
right.
I worked with 18-year-old girls in that club, man. Like
And you know what's happening.
these
Yeah.
kids, these, and people end up in the industry as you end up in the industry for whatever reason you're there. And
Hmm.
we've all got to stick together to make sure that we protect each other and all of those sorts of things. For a lot of women as well, that was their only source of income. Like they did not want to be full service workers, they did not want to be massage workers, they were dancers, and that was their job. So
Right.
unlike me, they couldn't be like, bye, I'm back to the dick sucking factory,
And you
I've
just
got
didn't
other
have
options. Like that was
yeah.
just their income gone. It was really interesting to, again, be back in that space and see the ways that it had changed and the ways that it hadn't changed. It just made me very aware of also how the vibes in the club had changed. Like when I had started working when I was
Mhm,
18, it
mhm.
was about the club vibes and throwing money and having a good time. And actually, a big part of it was like people would on a Friday or a Saturday night, like especially when I was working at Showy, it's like people would come in and if it was pumping, we'd put shows on, we'd change the music, you'd make a real club vibe. You wanted people to be in there partying, having a good time. Whereas like CG's was very much like everybody stays sitting, and the girls are always everyone does a tipping round and like I get it from the girls' perspective, of constantly being like, hey, are you tipping? Are you tipping? Are you tipping? Is everybody tipping? Are you tipping the girls tonight? If I was coming into this establishment, you're overcharging me at the door, you're overcharging me for the drinks, you won't let me have fun. I can't dance. I can't sing. I can't get up and
Right.
have a good time.
Yeah.
I can't get
Yeah.
into the atmosphere. You want me to sit here and just shell money out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again, yes, that's the business model, right? The business model is you come in and you see beautiful women and you give them money. If you just let us like make this like
Do
a
our
little
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you just let us like bring up the energy, more people would come in, more fun would be had. They also
Yeah.
had too many girls working. It's like, no, there's too many of us here and we're in competition. Well, because we don't, you don't get paid anything to be there. You have to earn everything there. So you can go into work and make no money, right? And so if they've got 20 girls on tonight, like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
what if
Yeah.
only 10 people come into the fucking club, bitch? This is not how I'd run this business. Like this is
That's
not
what I
how
was
I would
going to think. You were going to end up just starting your own club and just changing how the dynamics are.
if you were forgetting that the reason people are coming into your club is the girls, right? They're not coming in because they want to drink overpriced beer, right? They're here to see the girls.
Yeah.
So if you're not treating the girls with respect and people are not able to have fun and people are not making money,
What are
why are
you
we here?
doing?
What are we fucking doing here? What are we fucking doing here?
Right.
And then the
Right.
other crazy thing about it is how openly they would allow people like drug dealers to operate out of the business because it was in a very good downtown location for people to be able to just pop out, do their deals, and come back in, provided that the dealers paid for a whole bunch of drinks and sat in a booth all night. The establishment got their money and they didn't really care what they did. And like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, sometimes that would work out for me because I'd get paid like $50 cash to watch their drinks while I went to did stuff. And like, cause I got a face tattoo,
Yep.
they were like,
Yep.
oh yeah, yeah, they're cool. They know what's up. They're fine. They're not a
Yep.
narc. And I'm just like, thank you for the $50. When you think about that as an environment, right?
Right.
The way, how drunk they would let people come in, the level of drunk they would let them get in the club that I worked at when I was 18 would never put us in danger like that.
Yeah. And you're discouraging even other people from coming in.
It is a very, very difficult job. And I salute everybody who is still doing it and everybody who is doing it internationally, right? Like, strippers worldwide.
Right.
The more difficult the economy becomes, the more people are entering into that industry. And so it's more important now than ever that we have strong unions, that we take care of each other, and that we
Yeah.
really strongly advocate to destigmatize someone you know is a sex worker, someone you love as a sex worker. Plenty of people in the arts that are really
All
talented,
right.
and their way of getting in is to pay for it with their body and get to where they want to go. And so it's
Yeah.
also about building those pathways into the civilian space so that people can retire. It's a great industry for a period of time, but in the same way that like being a pro athlete, like there's a time limit on that.
I'm breaking up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm very, very grateful that the industry has been there for me because I would not be where I am today without it. Absolutely, one day I will make a series or a movie about that time and what we did and how we got there.
It's a must. But I feel like, and at least for me and you, for so long you have been coming to America, and that's where we were having most of our
Yeah,
encounters and our friendship was built. Seeing just what life was for you
yeah,
over there and really jumping in and just like, okay, where can I fit in? Where can I help?
yeah,
What can I do to help this move forward? I feel like that and all that chaos, that really is what solidified us as family. Like,
yeah,
even to the points of while worrying about that shit, while trying to get a movie made, still delivering Teddy the papers. That made us so
yeah,
much closer because real life is still happening. The shit that we just have to do is still
yeah.
happening. It meant the world to me because, like I said, being in a different country, that's probably the closest that I could feel to how you were feeling in America.
The big thing that like I really wanted for you out of the experience of being in New Zealand as well is like every time I would see you in the US, I would see the structures that were stopping you. It's not a lack of talent, it's not a lack of drive, and it's not a lack of fucking wanting that shit, right? It's just people and structures and everything in the way and a culture of everybody's
Gatekeeper.
trying yeah, everybody's trying to make it get in line, kid. And
Yep.
so it was very much how can I take this person that I genuinely believe is got the goods and how can I put him in an environment that is creativity led, that the people that he's working with are elevating what he's doing and are engaging with his work, giving you that freedom to push out into being being an actor, being a performer.
Coming over there, it was a part of me like I have to succeed for you. I have to show her
Mm,
that I'm worth it. I have to show her that she made the right bet.
yeah,
About halfway through that, I was like, she knows that. I need to
yeah,
do this for me. I need
yeah,
to become who I'm going to become. I need to learn this stuff for me. I really need to know
yeah.
what is happening, how this is, understand it to the full point, because she's not going to be there when you go back.
So it was like clearing your head, right?
Yeah.
It's like the American rat race. and the, you just got to run as fast as you can to stay in place. And so at no point in time did I ever feel like you got a chance to be like, yeah, but what do I want to do?
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
actually floats my boat? What am I interested in making? If if I had a choice, would I be doing this? Is this the kind of roles that I'd be interested in? People kind of ask me like, what was my thinking behind it? And my thinking behind it was really just this person deserves to make it.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
know so many people who don't and are.
Yes.
I know so many people who don't and are.
Yes.
And, one of the first conversations I remember you and I having where we really fucking clicked. We were talking. I had taken this meeting at Netflix, and these older ladies had told me off because I had walked into the room really like, hello, hi,
Yes. Yep.
you know, and they were like, you were really good and you were doing fucking really great work and you understand this in a way that a lot of fucking people don't. You need to stop walking into rooms apologetic. And I remember unpacking that with you as a female, as a fucking queer female, as, now a trans fucking female, as a person with a disability, as a fucking autistic female. There were so many elements of myself that I was like, no, I can't just walk into rooms and be like, I'm the fucking best. I'm here to
Yeah.
fucking play. Let's
Yeah.
fucking go. And you
Yeah.
had a very similar thing where you were like, no, as a black man, I got to go into every situation going, I'm not a threat,
Yeah.
And it
Mhm.
was that moment that we both realized that we didn't have to go, I'm not a threat to each other, right?
Yeah.
And we were able to be like, no, we are a threat, actually.
I'm very fucking good.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
I'm really
Yeah.
fucking good at what I do and I'm really fucking driven and I know that and I'm fucking here to fucking prove it. And
Yeah.
it was that shared solidarity of just like what little acceptance that we were getting to navigate these systems felt like it was coming at the cost of having to be this, like, again,
Something.
like, it's the ways that even like you shrink your body down or you just put your
Yes.
face,
You
yeah,
actually really start to believe you are that small. And
yes,
like, so even like deciding that I could be under Tim and learn how to direct, or just put like I
yeah.
didn't have to be the guy in front of the camera. It took so much to just convince myself of that because of keeping myself so small, or I'm only supposed to be this or that.
Even though our lived experiences have been like so different, right? In so many ways, there's so different things about how we move in the world. It was that
Mhm.
kind of reminder that it's like, oh, that even though you and I are so different, they are asking us to do the same shit. We both have to shrink ourselves. We both have to act like we're not as good as we are. I've got to wait for
Yeah.
you to notice that I'm as talented as I am. And then I've got to be so humble about,
That
oh
you
my God,
could, yeah.
you know, like I haven't fucking been up all night doing this since I was 12 because this is all I fucking care about.
Time on court changed my life. That praise
100%.
changed my life.
While you guys were out in the fucking world living life, I studied the blade.
Yes, literally.
I got really good at what I fucking do. And so it's like being on that journey of going, okay, how do we forge our own path, right? If everybody's zigging, how do we zag?
Yeah.
If
And I guess that's what was really impressive to me about you, for you to just look at your friends, be like, they deserve that moment, that project, that thing, that whatever it is, they deserve that. And then just materialize it. But now I see how. Now I see how, for you to give me that up close and person view on how you can just turn an idea into an actual thing, a tangible thing that people can go and pay for and buy. And that's business.
Yeah, it's like figuring out what are the moving parts, what's it costs, how do we make sure that we're hitting all the key things that we need? How do you deal with curveballs as they come up? But I think a big part of it as well is it's just like scaffolding your talent, making sure that talent has what they need to be able to focus on doing a good job. If you're someone that I'm like developing, that I am driving and I've gone, you are talented and I want to see you succeed, I
Yeah.
love you and I am in your fucking corner, right? I am
Right.
in your fucking corner, whether or not, okay, you need fucking financial support. If I've got it, if I don't have it, I'll help you find it.
Mhm.
If you need emotional support, I'm here for that. You want to talk about your fucking project, and that's not like just mamby-pamby stuff. Sometimes we have pretty hard conversations. Sometimes you got to be pretty forthright about things. I never want my talent to ever feel like I don't have their fucking back.
Mhm.
And it's like I know what it's like to be talent that people do not have your back,
Yeah, and don't feel
you know?
like, especially the people that's supposed to. Yeah.
And it's all the sort of false promises that people make, and again, for me, it's a very autistic trait, right? It's I'm a man of my word. You know, if I say I'm going to do something, I do something, right?
Right.
Because I know what it's like to have people make empty promises. I know what it's like to have people tell you they're going to show up and they don't. It's the difference between genuinely supporting that talent to get to that next level so they can move forward. You have to see them as a person and you have to be invested in that person, not just what they can do for you,
Yeah.
not just the ways that you think they could plug into your system, but it's like,
And
do you give a fuck
I
about that human and their mental and their physical and how their fucking soul is doing?
right, right. But I was gonna say, even like I got that. I've always been emotionally intelligent, I guess. But
Yeah,
okay, I'll take my son for like,
yeah,
hey everybody, I just had a son. Congrats. But he's 8 months and now being a dad, I feel that type of love and care. Like
mm,
this little man can't give me anything. He can't do anything for me. And I just want to keep showing up
yeah,
for him. And so, like, even in our relationship, like I say, you bring so a tremendous amount of value to me, but I just love you for who you are.
yeah.
Outside of that, how do you, because like, especially with your situation, like kids are out of the picture, how do you find that I guess I'd say that parental mentality that to care about, especially sometimes fuck people, like people that will can turn around and do you wrong. How do you like, and you've experienced that to continue pouring that love and that care into people is hard.
I really did want to have children, and I spent a lot of my 20s um trying to get into a life situation where I could. I mean, I was never gonna, I'm never gonna accidentally get pregnant. That was never on the cards for me, and then, shout out to my homeboy Gluten, for just taking it off the cards totally. But I was very depressed about it. And the thing that really got me out of it was what I was depressed about is that I had all this love that I wanted to give.
Mm,
And I suddenly was like, I don't need to have a baby for that. There are grown ass adults walking around
listen,
right
yes,
now who
that
have
need
never who have never had somebody pour love into them like that.
it.
They've
Mhm.
never had somebody be like, I'm telling you I'm proud of you just because I am proud of you. I want to see you succeed. I'm always here for you. Come for me for anything. And in a lot of ways, it's, I used to joke with people that I'm like a person in their 30s with no children, but I got like 10 kids.
Yeah.
But a big part of that was like, I'm very lucky with my parents. Like, as much as they're very complex people,
Mhm.
I've always known that they're proud of me. I have always had known that they love me. My mom will always tell me that she loves me.
No
She
matter
will
what.
100%. And it's wanting to take that same love, right? And give it to people who deserve it. Cost me nothing. It
Yeah.
costs me nothing to tell you that I love you, man. It costs me nothing to tell you I'm real fucking proud of everything that you're doing. And I think, especially in New Zealand, there's a lot of families that they assume that they assume their kids know, especially for a lot of artists, especially given the fact that like it's such a slog. It's so grueling to try and get where you want to go that if you don't have somebody who's solid in your corner telling you you've got the goods, just keep going, you know, then you will drop out. You won't stay in, right?
Hmm.
You won't
Hmm.
push past and do your best. Um,
And I will say, just a side note, like hearing you
yeah,
say it, I don't know why it just resonated differently this time when you did just say that, but I think it, I think it may be because like I was the baby, like when we
yeah,
first met, I was, and you taught me so much that I am sorry that I do forget to do that for you. Like I forget that you're
thank
not
you.
just the big brother. You're not just the mentor. Life is chaotic and this, everybody's dealing with it. And so hearing it from that, because I want you to keep going. You're right. You're absolutely right. Checking in is not even important. It's imperative. Like it has to happen at that point.
Well, thank you, man. I think part of it too, and this is something I've got to get better at, right? Is like I'm such a stoic cunt, you know? I'm such a like knuckle down, get it sorted. Like you gotta really like I gotta really know you and trust you if you're gonna see me cry, you know?
Right.
And I think it's easy for people to forget that it is hard. Like all the things are hard. Like as a person with a disability, I know that I just have to have a different kind of emotional maturity from a lot of people. You know, at a very young age, you just had to learn to be okay with big things. You know, like when food can kill you, you got to come to grips with what that means at a really young age. And
The world is a dark place from then on.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
it's the ways that you try and like navigate it and not let it get to you. I think it's just like a little bit of like toxic masculinity about me. I don't want people to think I'm a pussy,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh, that I can definitely agree with that. Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure.
And so there's that part of it where I'm always like, oh, if I was more vulnerable with people, if people really knew how much it'd get to me, if people knew how much I really did need help and in many ways do need people's help. But like my toxic trait is to be like, nah, fuck it, I don't need anybody, you know, I don't need any of you, I don't need anything, I don't need anybody, you know. The downside of that is people believe you, right? If you say it with enough conviction, if you people see you say it enough times, I don't need anything, I'm fine on my own, I'll take care of everything. You kind of end up in that self-fulfilling prophecy. I guess it's like trying to snap out of that and like let people help you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
That's super hard to do.
especially through that period of my life, like following, you know, sort of separating from my husband and you know, sort of being back in sex work like full time and like rebuilding my life and trying to build my career in a different way so I didn't get jerked around so much. Like so much of my survival mechanism was armor on, nothing nothing gets to me,
Yeah,
just power through. And
that became the just the default.
once I'd retired and I'd, you know, moved home and was going through the process of kind of like unpacking what had happened to me, you know,
Mm,
like a lot of these things are things that are incredibly traumatic things to happen to someone. And to me, it's just another day. And like learning that and unpacking all of that emotionally, and in some ways also trying to take responsibility for the fact that people can't help me if I don't let them.
true, true, for
You
sure.
know, like before we got on this podcast, how hard did you have to fight me
But and but
to help
yeah,
me, to help
yeah,
me?
yeah. Even when you were saying it earlier, when I was saying I
Yeah,
want you to be pissed off, I really do.
yeah,
I guess I just don't like the toxic masculinity trait
yeah,
in you. Like, but I'm fine. Like,
yeah,
no, bro, it's okay not to be fine. Be
yeah,
pissed off. Let's use that.
yeah,
Let's use that to keep going forward because even just knowing you to that point, like knowing you as a person,
yeah.
like we are family, knowing like a lot of people could and would never even try to wrap their head around the things that you've been through.
Like my therapist said something really interesting that has kind of stuck with me because, you know, when I start talking with people about it, a lot of people will like literally flinch away from me. They'll like they're scared of me. I was like, you know, people are scared of me, and she said they're not scared of you. They're
Mhm.
scared of what it will do to their worldview to accept what happened to you right next to them.
Yeah, yeah,
And they are not afraid of you. They are afraid of the truth of what it means for the world
yep.
for that to be the case.
Mhm.
And I was just like, you know, because well,
Yeah, because you see so many other examples of it in the world, but it never resonates with you.
and I had always, I think one of the ways that I had survived the stigma, survived, you know, all of the things that I knew people would say about me, what they do about me, was to see myself as a villain, you know, was to see myself as a bad guy and someone who was
Mhm.
like, I, you know, the danger in the night.
So it makes sense that they're treating me like this.
Yeah, and then I got out the other end. No, I was just a person in a very, very vulnerable position with very few choices.
Mhm.
And I've never been a villain. I've never been a fucking
But
cruel or
a
bad
villain would
person, you
imply
know?
that you're doing something malicious to someone else.
Yeah.
If anything, you were doing something malicious to yourself.
Oh
And if
yeah,
that,
this is like some kind of
you know,
fucked
like,
up Robin Hood. That's like I'll take this rich man's money and give it to these poor artists.
but, but, but that's why it's always been so confusing for me when you do look at
Mm.
yourself as like, because like me, I just always accepted it.
When I look back on it and I look back on the situations, Tim had a really astute observation about it. One of the things I think that people really struggle with me is they cannot believe that I've had to live like this.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they're like, but you're smart and you're beautiful and you have like a good
Mhm.
education and all this other stuff. And it's like, yes, but disability and the ways that disabilities impact people's lives. I have a very expensive disability. Like I'm like one of those little hypoallergenic dogs that need its really expensive science
Yeah.
diet food.
But
Um,
see, and but then you become that to them. You just become this thing
yeah,
they want to poke and prod and like, oh, so what is this like then? What
yeah.
is this? Yeah.
If we have a deeper conversation as a society about how do we better support disabled people? How do we better
Mhm.
ensure that, people who have additional needs of any kind are able to exist, I'm not the only female with a disability, that the fact that I am attractive is better, right? It gives me the pathways to earn
Right.
money and people will engage with me a certain way. But I think in some ways it actually distances people from having empathy for my disability.
Listening to that and how people respond to you for especially as long as we've been friends. I get it, but I get it because I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the
Yeah,
thing. Like because I'm this, you don't think I can be skilled. You don't think I can be
yeah,
smart. You don't think that I can be this. And like for real, me and your relationship, I remember you probably the first couple of years, you'll always thank me. Like, thank you for never like just hitting on me, never
yeah.
making me feel like I'm an object, never making me feel I'm like, they know like I'm more than that too.
Yeah, it's one of my like favorite little exchanges that we had. You've known me from when I was sort of living as a woman to sort of now living a non-binary life. This really wonderful moment where you were like, "Well, yeah, I'm not into dudes, man." And I was like, "Oh, it's you."
But like for that to be the thing that you flattered about.
You've always seen me as a friend, a homie, a dude, like someone
Right.
who's in the game with you and wants to make it. And when I think about what making pop was to me, right, it was like us as a group and it's like a heist, and my job is to go make the money, and your guy's job is to go make this really cool movie. I just happen to be the dude with the hot body that I can monetize so that we can make this movie.
So we can get it done.
Part of it as well is just like learning to be vulnerable in the right places, but I think also just like learning to be honest. Be honest with the fact that it's like, yeah, man, it was real fucking hard and it fucking sucked. It sucked in
Because
many
I feel
ways.
like well, kind of like Tim was saying to you just about your look.
Mm,
People are gonna look at this movie and just be like, damn, it looks good. They look at you, they're like,
yeah,
damn, it looks good. You
yeah.
have no clue what meant or went into that. And that's why it will be so easy for people to not understand how hard this was. And I think it's our job to starting with this podcast, it's our job to let people know. Did you just hear the crazy shit that we just talked about for the past
Yeah,
hour? Like
yeah.
that's not regular stories on how people are saying this is how a film got made. And
Well,
people
and
need to know that. That's how you're forcing us to do this shit.
I also just want more people out there to hear us talk about it and realize, yeah, you can just go out with a group of friends. You can just go out. You actually don't need someone on high to fucking decide. The phrase that Tim used is he's like, everybody's trying to vertically network. You need to horizontally network. You
Mhm.
know, who are the people you're coming up with? Who are the people that you believe in? Right. And it's not just like any random schmuck who's your peer, right? No.
Yeah, that's not gonna say.
If you weren't you, if I didn't know that you were going to fucking do a good performance, lock it up, work well with Tim, get it done, all that sort of shit. It's like, no, I wouldn't have fucking supported you. People will always be about me, be like, you're really nice. And I'm like, I'm really not. I'm
But
actually
this
really
is
not. I'm a kind person. I'm a generous person, but I'm not a nice person.
yeah.
And if I am invested in you in any way, shape, or form, it is because I have recognized that you have something worth supporting.
Mhm.
And I am grateful that you proved me right. You know
But,
me. Sex is
yeah.
good, but have you ever been right all along?
Hey,
And
so much better.
I think there was a lot of moments when we had started out on pop, and it really was. It was just our little team plugging ahead, and everybody was waiting to see what was going to happen. I never doubted it for a fucking second. It's not that it's like there weren't challenges that we faced. It's not like there wasn't things that, we had to overcome, but I
Mm,
never doubted the talent of my team, and I never doubted their commitment to seeing it through.
that's crazy. And I'm glad you didn't because it was sometimes I was like, this shit ain't but like and for real, like that doubt can creep in,
Yeah.
especially when you're not getting that support. When you got people looking around like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll see. And the fact that yeah, you did it. You did it. We did it, but you did it. You did it.
My job was to drive. My job was to support. My job was to make sure everybody was housed and fed
Yeah.
and to make sure that the film stayed on the rails. And in a lot of ways, I could be very hands off in regards to what you guys were doing every day. And because I knew you had it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I knew that you guys had it sorted, you know? And if you didn't, we would figure it out. Seeing you just like grab this opportunity and go, nah, I am getting everything out of this. Like that's what I wanted. That's, like I'm very sports minded about it. And it's like, no, I want people who want to be the fucking best. And if you want to come out and be the fucking best with me, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
But like,
For
I'm
real.
like, boys, let's go.
But even all the way down to shooting like something like going out in the
Yeah.
middle of the night, just
Yeah.
torches into like people that put the work in,
Yeah.
just move their feet and whatever they get by the time they done with the work day, that's what they got with and they deal with it.
It's very easy to kind of view filmmaking or music creative pursuits as this really ethereal thing that it's okay. It is whatever it is. And it's like, no, I came here to be the fucking best. And I came here
Yeah.
to do it with the best. And like every step of the way, we are pushing ourselves to do our best and be the best. And I don't think that there is anything to be ashamed about. I don't think we need to humble ourselves and be like, oh, well, it was just because it wasn't. It wasn't some miracle that this film is good. It's not some miracle that it got pulled off. A bunch of people showed up and were fucking asses off to make sure that
Yeah.
it happened. And that's Tim, and that's you, and that's Katie, and that's Sarah. Fucking Sarah Munn did a fucking exceptional job. We had some amazing people on this film. I think because you, as crew member number one, you set the tone. You set the
Mm,
tone that we were here to fucking be the best, and we were here to fucking push it. And him really responds to that kind of vibe as well. It allowed him to be like, yeah, man, let's get out the gate and let's go. Just like so proud of you guys for for wanting it and chasing it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For
Like
like fucking
so doing what you say you wanted it. Yeah.
yeah, you like go out there and fucking make something amazing. And, I think a lot of people will go and make a film off the back, and not just in New Zealand. I think a lot of people worldwide are going to see this film, especially a lot of young Black creatives are going to see you in this film.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, wait, so this guy produced this film and starred in this film, and his music's in this film, and he's now out there globally pushing himself. And he did this with his friends who believed in him. Oh, I can do that too. Oh, hey, this guy is really pushing the boundaries of the kind of roles that people are expecting from us as filmmakers and as creatives. As much as I've got these like successes triggering fears of like having a little breakdown at the premiere because it'll all just hit me at once, the impact this film will have, not because the film itself will necessarily change people's lives,
Right.
right? But it's the impact of inspiring other people to do the same.
Mm-hmm. Because
And
that's what I was just
yeah,
gonna say to you. I do challenge you, like even when we're back there and we're around that city, to not look at it as the places where things happen to you, to
mm,
look at it as this is where I happened to this place. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? This is where I did this shit to get this done. Like this
yeah,
is like there's gonna be so many people who walk past Calendar Girls like, yo, this is the place she was working at. That's what
yeah,
I challenge you to do. When you're out there, like That's a
Yeah.
badge of honor because not everybody can do that. And I mean fully, 100%
Mm,
fully capable people.
you're 100% right. I just received so much stigma,
Yeah.
you know? And the thing is, when you're a highly stigmatized individual, when really awful things happen to you, people don't care. If anything, they think you deserve it. If anything, they're kind of glad it happened to you. You know, there's all these layers of it. Because I've not really been back in the city in a meaningful way without that stigma. I haven't
Yeah.
been back. I
That
haven't been
takes
back in
that.
LA as myself, as a person who's retired, as a person who spent 2 years like healing and
Yeah.
thinking and learning and growing. There's like fear about being in this space where everybody knows a different version of me. And
Yeah.
everybody knows a version of me that was going through a real hard time for a real long time.
Mhm.
And it's in some ways like reintroducing myself, but also at the same time, in some ways, kind of reminding myself that I did it for me as much as I did it for you guys.
Yep. Because I was just about to say, also remember, and like for real, the probably the number one thing you should remember, that is where the death happened.
Yeah.
Like you killed
Yeah.
that old person. Like
Yeah.
exactly what's going through your head right now, or you're battling going back. That's why you killed that version.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
exactly why you did that. So you could show up and be like, no, this is exactly who I
Yeah.
wanted to be. This is who you get. And like for real, for
Yeah.
you to let me perform at it, to like that's a huge like
For, for context for
oh
everybody who's
yeah.
listening who doesn't know, when I went through my sort of name change as part of my transition, I went from the anglicized version of my name to the Irish version of my name, and I had a wake. I had a wake for myself, for my previous identity. And Trent, genius played, and you played some of my favorite tracks, some unreleased tracks. It's a song that I still listen to, and you still need to release it. But it's a song called "Win," and the opening line of it is, "He's here in the flesh," and
Yeah.
it's such a like trans joy song for me, because it is, as
I didn't think
somebody.
about it like that.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the reasons that I always really connected to music, and why I was always able to put myself in the position of you as you were writing and singing, because it's coming from that place of being a, driven, hungry young man and what you want to achieve in the world. And, as somebody who exists kind of in a gray area in the middle, the way that I kind of describe it, my relationship with masculinity is like a really unexpected cover of a song.
That's speaking fire.
Like it's still good, but it's different. Like I heard this really like awesome acoustic jangly guitar cover of like Fetty Wap that was just like fucking trap queen, and I was like, yes, this is my gender. This is my gender. It's a jangly guitar cover of Fetty Wap. But I don't know. I think that's one of the things that I've always loved about your music, and why I'm so proud of the fact that it's in the film. Right as we
Yeah.
were finishing up the sound mix and the final mix down, and we're sort of sitting there and everybody's nodding their fucking heads along. Like when the guy who's doing it turned around, was just like, man, these songs are really good. And I was like, yes, yes,
That's exactly why I did it.
yes, 100%. And so again, it's
Yeah.
just like having these moments of seeing it all come together and seeing all of the strands and all of the things that we've worked for, but also just kind of being able to, like, I guess, take a step back and like it's over, but it's just beginning, if that makes sense.
That's the perfect feeling, the way to describe that
Yeah,
feeling. Like a weight is definitely lifted off your shoulder, but you see the
yeah.
pressure coming.
Moving on to what's next, figuring out what's next, figuring out the ways that we can all use this to springboard forward. I guess it's like taking that time to really acknowledge this isn't a normal film. It actually means so much more to every single one of us for every different reason. Like you were far away from home, putting yourself through all sorts of crazy shit. You climbed that mountain twice. You know what I mean? And we're all out there really pushing ourselves to make this the best we could, and
Yeah.
to show people that we're to show people that we got it, to show people that we deserve to get to the next level and we deserve to keep pushing it. There's so many times where a lot of people made me feel like I was like crazy, like maybe I didn't really understand what I was doing. And so it's like I'm very much ready for my vindication lap.
I can't wait to see what that looks like. And like for real, that alone, that's gonna be the win for me. And then I'm gonna be like, you ready to do this shit again then? Let's go, bro.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
do this shit again.
let's do it with a little bit more money. That would be nice.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
But I am
But,
mindful that it is 1,000 hours late for you.
but these times always get me like, if I didn't have to be up early tomorrow morning, I probably could stay on another hour.
Yeah, well,
Because,
you were dead. You got life.
but can you believe 9 years deep in this shit? Can you believe it? And like, until you said it earlier, I was like, damn,
Yeah,
it really does fly. And I think probably because, like we were saying, you always just been, and it honestly feels like that. You've always just been. From the moment we met at Rato George, you've
yeah.
just been.
We never gave up on it.
Yeah. Yep. And
You know.
through life, like when you were going through stuff with your sister, when I was going through stuff with my brother, we've always had that like, yeah, that is some crazy shit that's happening. But you remember
Yeah.
we still on this path, right? Like we still got this
Yeah.
mission.
Like it never happens how you think it's going to, right? It never happens how you think it's going to, but we made it happen.
Damn, that just hit different.
We got a fucking movie coming out, brother.
Yeah. No, we got a fucking movie coming out. That's insane. It means so much to know that I just, even if Pop is the only movie I ever make, and it won't
It
be
won't be the only movie you ever
ever
fucking make.
fucking
Shut
won't
the
be.
fuck up.
But if it was like that, he would grow up and be like, my dad did something in this world. Like he left something
Hmm.
here, years and years and years and years, and decades, and that's going to be here. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier to you. Like you're not your body. The shit that comes from here, the shit that you're able to that disability is us. It is such a small part of you, even though it affects you so much, because
Hmm.
the shit that you gonna leave here is gonna outlive all of us. Like I am so happy to be in your presence. I'm so happy that you took a chance on me to be my friend and to teach me and give me these experiences, man. It
Well, you just be grateful that you wrote a good song. Because if you played me that track
delicious.
and yeah, if you played me that track, it was dog shit. We wouldn't be here.
That's why I love you. Never change. Never change.
Alrighty. Mwah. Good
I
night.
love
Sleep
you.
well.
I love all of y'all. Make sure that when Pop comes out, you go see it because the stories, the things that we did to make this and bring it to life and bring it to y'all. And trust me, this podcast was only the surface. We go got
Yeah.
some more stories for y'all. Definitely. Love you. Thank you for
Love you,
always
brother.
being here.
Oh, of course. Thank you for always being there for me.
Of course. Catch you next time. Holla.